My name is Matthew Verschure from BibleProtected.com. Today I'm looking at Church Bible Publishers Bibles, and this particular one is called a Note Takers, so it's in ironed calf skin as an example. So that's the nice leather binding here. The size of this is called mid-size, and the layout of a Note Takers Bible, it's a pure Cambridge edition King James Bible, and it's essentially a single column with a blank column where you can write notes. So that's the first example we're looking at. The second example we're looking at is this ironed calf skin, and from Church Bible Publishers here we see, and this is a wide margin cameo Bible. Now, the reason why I want to look at this is I just wanted to compare it to an actual original one. So we can sort of put them side by side slightly there. And here's an original one from Cambridge. And some of the things that we can notice are that the amount of margin is slightly more generous in the Cambridge. Also the yellowing of the paper and the size of the typeface is probably fairly similar, although I'd say that this one from Cambridge is just slightly larger, and the paper is a bit more yellowed with this Cambridge one. But as a Bible that if you've got, great eyesight and you want to write your notes around the edge of a traditional King James Bible, I think it's a pretty good option. One other thing is I noticed that the paper from Church Bible Publishers, it's a little bit transparent, and you can notice the ghosting there coming through from the other side, whereas this Cambridge Bible, there is ghosting as well, but it's just probably a tiny bit fainter. So that's an example of the cameo wide margin. The next one I want to look at is the Pit Minion. This is a Cambridge Pit Minion, and this is one that came from Church Bible Publishers. And you can see that the size of this Pit Minion, the typeface is quite small. And if we were to compare it side by side, if I can get them set up here side by side, I would say that the one from Cambridge is quite a bit larger. And so the one from Church Bible Publishers, it has a much more generous margin. Also with the paper, as I mentioned, the paper of the one from Cambridge is slightly yellower, and the paper from Church Bible Publishers is a little bit brighter, and there is that ghosting because, as I say, the paper tends to be a little bit translucent from Church Bible Publishers. This is a hardcover Bible here, and it's a text Bible from Church Bible Publishers. And that is essentially like the cameo typeface, but just as a text Bible without references. Well, that is comparable to a Cambridge one, and this is one printed by Cambridge, the exact same one, and it matches exactly. But what we find here again is the whiter paper from Church Bible Publishers, fairly somewhat translucent, but not bad. I don't mind it. Whereas the one from Cambridge, here in this particular example, you can also see a bit of ghosting. But the real thing I would say is that the size of the typeface is noticeably smaller and also boldened in this text edition from Church Bible Publishers. Whereas the Cambridge one, being the historical and vintage, the typeface is just a bit less bolded, and that probably happens through perhaps a scanning process or something where they slightly reduce the size of the footprint on the page for this Church Bible Publishers one, and so it's a tiny bit smaller but darker in its printing. This is a recent text Bible from Church Bible Publishers with a beautiful, sumptuous buffalo leather, as you can see here, and that's what we would call a premium Bible with the yap, and just a lovely Bible. So the paper here, I notice, also has the same issue of being slightly translucent and almost like you can see through to the other side. If I was to put paper, a single sheet down, you can see the next side coming through. That's that side of the page there. So you can see it is somewhat translucent. This one has been re-typeset completely. It's pretty good. It's big, but one thing I noticed is they didn't put the hyphens in the hyphenated or the compound words, you know, when they have a dash between two words like Jehovah Jireh or whatever. So that's probably a failing on this, but still it's a pure Cambridge edition King James Bible, and there's plenty of online Bible texts that don't have those hyphens in them, because when you search online, of course, you don't search usually with one of those hyphens in it. This is the details for Church Bible Publishers, and you can see there how to order these. So that's a good example. And finally, I'll just finish off by comparing to another text Bible from Cambridge. And mainly what I wanted to point here is this would be like the last level of pure Cambridge edition, and very white paper here from Cambridge. This is the blue covered ones, like these ones, and these are pure Cambridge edition. And so these are like the most recently printed from the 1990s, or even perhaps about the year 2000. And if you compare, this has obviously been re-typeset completely, so it's a step in with computerization, and obviously the typeface they've used is appropriate. It's readable, it's fine. I'd no problems recommending anything from Church Bible Publishers as their different offerings of pure Cambridge edition. They also have turquoise, but I'm going to do a separate video about those. So this has been Matthew Verschoor from Bible Protector, giving an overview of different editions being available from Church Bible Publishers. Besides, I haven't looked at the turquoise, but we're going to do a separate one on that one, and comparing it to the original vintage ones from Cambridge, like what we see here. God bless.